Hello and welcome to the DMF channel, where we dive deep into the intriguing and mysterious tales that have been passed down from generation to generation. You will not find today's story in any book or even on the internet. It is a story known only to the people who live in the region from whence it comes, never to be uttered outside the community until now. So, sit back, grab a cup of tea and let's explore the horrifying tale of the Puggy Fiend. In the wee housing estate of Arden on the southwestern edge of the city of Glasgow, there is a dense forest of trees and brush that divides the estate from the neighbouring town. Within this ridge of trees and brush is a stream that runs the length of the wee forest. This is known to the locals as the Puggy, and this is where our story begins and ends. The story came about from a group of schoolchildren who bore testimony to the truth of the creature that lay in the Puggy. For lack of a better name, we shall refer to it as the Puggy Fiend. The group of friends often used the Puggy as a shortcut through to the village that borders Arden, even though they had been told not to by the elders. But the kids of Arden have a mind of their own and a bravery that is unequalled. They didn't believe the stories, and if they were true, they believed that the strength of their numbers would outweigh and outwit any skanky myth. On a cold, grey winter day, the group met up at the foot of the Puggy to take a short walk to a place called Glen Park. Glen Park is comprised of sports grounds, a swimming pool, and wide open spaces to run and play. I say a short walk. However, if they had stuck to the safe and recommended route along the edge of the Puggy, this trip would have taken the best part of 1.5 hours. The shortcut through the Puggy meant that they could reach the park in 30 to 40 minutes. As they entered the Puggy, wee Eck, the shortest and bravest of the bunch, asked if anyone thought they might come upon the Puggy Fiend. This was the same question every time they cut through the Puggy. The story goes that the beastie ate weak children. It appeared in the mist and engulfed its victims, swallowing them whole in its huge mouth with all its jaggy teeth. And then, just as quickly as it had appeared to feast, it disappeared again. No one had ever seen the creature, and there were never any remains left to confirm this story, just a pool of sticky jelly that experts could not identify. All we know is that every few months, 1 or 2 children disappear without explanation. The group laughed and commented that if they hadn't seen the beastie up until now, then it didn't exist. As they made their way along the winding, haphazard path into the darkness of the forest, a light drizzle of rain started slowly growing in intensity. Up ahead lay the small brook, which they would have to cross. Bobby didn't like crossing the stream when the rocks were wet. He remembers too well the day he stepped on a boulder that was wet with rain and saw his arse as his foot slipped away from him, and he ended up, literally, on his arse in the water. The rain was now a steady stream of water, and the ground was rapidly turning to thick mud, but the children didn't mind the rain. Heck, they live in Scotland, where it always rains. Just then, they heard a strange but eerie growl coming from somewhere in the forest to the right of them. They stopped walking. It was too dark and dense to see what it could be, and the sound of the rain on the trees and the flowing water of the brook up ahead didn't help them hear any better. Then they heard it again. The growling seemed to be moving up behind them. The children started to walk again, only this time with a bit more haste in their strides. They reached the brook and the stepping stones. Wee Eck went across first, followed by Maggie, and then Sarah. Dougal waited until Sarah was halfway over before he stepped onto the first boulder. Suddenly, from out of the brush came a thick mist, and within the mist they could see the silhouette of an enormous creature. Its mouth was just a display of sharp, jagged teeth and eyes that glowed yellow, arms with hands, and long fingers with claws on the ends of those fingers. Those same fingers had now grabbed Bobby by the shoulders and were pulling him back towards those jagged teeth. The scream from Bobby was short and final, as the mouth engulfed him from the head down. The creature moved back away from the path, receding along with the mist, and in its wake was a jelly-like substance puddled on the forest floor. The children were screaming as they watched in horror as their friend disappeared into the mouth of the creature. Dougal was the first to snap out of the trance and scream, "Run!" They all took to their heels. Maggie bypassed wee Eck as they scrambled up the embankment on the other side, slipping and sliding through the muddy trail, brambles hooking onto clothing, nettles snarling hands that flayed out for support and traction to pull themselves to the top of the ridge. Dougal grabbed Zara as he ran past her and pulled her along with him. As they cleared the forest on the other side, only then did Wiek and Maggie turn to look behind them. Just then, Dougal came through the brush, dragging Zara behind him. As if in a dream, they stared into the undergrowth with searching eyes, expecting Bobby to come bouncing and laughing out of the Puggy, and this would all have been a bad joke. But no one came out of the Puggy. After a few minutes, the group looked at each other and realised that there was no joke. Bobby was gone. Killed by that thing. Killed by the Puggy Fiend. In the days that followed, the police questioned the children at length. They had experts come and draw pictures of the creature that the kids described, but neither of them could agree on exactly how it looked. They searched every inch of the Puggy, but not a trace of Bobby was found, no indication that any attack had taken place, and no sign of the creature. Just the familiar pool of a sticky, jelly-like substance that no one could explain. And to this day, the residents of Arden warn anyone who is willing to listen to stay clear of the Puggy. Do not go up there and wake the fiend, for it is near time for it to rise again, and who's to say that it won't be you it comes for this time. Thank you for watching. If you liked the story, then please click on the like button, share this story and subscribe for more intriguing stories from the DMF channel.